Welcome to Life Science Solutions. I'm your host, Chris Adkins. Today, we're exploring how artificial intelligence is reshaping the future of drug discovery and cancer treatment. My guest is Marcel Frenkel, CEO and co-founder of 1063 Therapeutics, a company at the cutting edge of using AI to tackle some of the toughest challenges in drug discovery and specifically oncology. We continue to see a lot of, in terms of where we see excitement kind of in the development space, right? And it's in these types of areas where patients are at the end of what their options are, right? And we're doing things to truly unlock new options, right? That's the excitement in what's kind of classically now called advanced therapies, right? In all the cell and gene therapy paradigms. It's also why we continue to see so much development activity into things like Parkinson's, where the current, treatment options are just really not great, right? And they're entirely, symptom management based, right?
Yep.
And we also see it, of course, in cancer, because you can exhaust what your treatment options are. And for most cancers, our current treatment options are just, even for the ones where we have an established paradigm to treat someone, we're just poisoning your entire body to try to kill the thing that we don't like, right?
I think, look, one thing to say, and I tell people all the time, is we've done great advancements.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, everything that we do, we get to step in the shoulder of giants, right? And I think we've understood so much now about, these diseases that we didn't, even 5-6 years ago, we didn't have anywhere near the knowledge that we have. And one of the areas of AI that we didn't touch on is, I think we're going to be able to gain insights that we wouldn't be able to before. So I think there's a little bit of, understanding biology by doing multi-omics data sets in ways that before would have been really hard. So I think, we're going to continue to learn more and more and more.
Yeah.
I think the problem has been, these are really difficult problems.
Yeah.
Right. And, the way that we kind of see it is, as a community, more and more, I think we're seeing fearless, just people really taking big risks and, just swinging for the fences. And thankfully, I think, some of it has paid off.
Yeah.
And not everything's going to pay off.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. And I think, as a community, as a, both the biotech community as well as a larger, kind of world community that obviously benefits from health, we're going to have to be patient, because a lot of stuff is going to fail before it succeeds.
Yeah.
But I think more and more, these advanced therapies, right? Like, cell therapies, gene therapies, people are betting on this stuff. And it would have been science fiction just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they're seeing great impacts. And I think we're going to need everything, right? These are complex diseases. When you're facing cancer, you're facing this evolutionary force that literally creates all the biodiversity on the planet.
Yeah.
And you want to win that fight, you better have, all the weapons at your disposal.
Yeah.
Right? So I think our job at 1063 is say, hey, look, we really believe that if you could strike here, you can make a difference.
Yeah.
It's been hard. Let's strike there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I mean, the pace at which we can make these innovations, it's really easy in my experience to actually forget, right, how quickly we've progressed in so many areas, right? So despite its flaws, right, AAV gene therapy is one such area. I was at a conference earlier this year, and a gentleman spoke who was the first American recipient of an AAV gene therapy, right? And, it was, if memory serves, it was AAV1, and now we're on AAV9. And so there's lots of progression and benefits there. But now, not far from here is a commercial gene therapy production facility that is entirely trying to wipe out a genetic disease from birth, right? And so that's really impressive, impressive technological movement just in, 25-ish, 30 years, right? So it's pretty impressive. What does success then look like for you guys for patient outcome over the next few years, right? I mean, you're taking swings at some of these really big challenges. Obviously, there's still a regulatory pathway that gets gone through, but you've got this really cool technology that's behind it. So what's that success look like?
Yeah, there's only one success metric, right? And that success metric is, do we move the needle for patients?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Everything else, is okay. But I think we know that that's what matters. And the way that we kind of think about it every time is, hey, how is this going to move the needle, right? Where are we going to go with this? How are we going to impact our pipeline, our partners' pipelines? Like, how are we actually going to make drugs get where they need to go to patients, and enable better drugs that, have more sophisticated mechanism of actions that are cleaner, more potent,
less off-target effects.
Are going to do more what they're supposed to do. And that's really what we're focused about. So, we really see the benefit of technology and the benefit of, development of our pipeline in line with this question. So for us, what we're really focused on is developing as quickly as possible on the technology side to enable the potentiation of the platform side, of the pipeline side. And while we're doing that, every kind of discovery of improvement that you can make to the pipeline, to the platform, it pushes your pipeline.
Yes.
So, you got a little bit about both.
Yeah, and I mean it's really important that you have those two things tied together, because both as a startup company, ultimately both are really important, right? And I think from having talked to now quite a few startups, right, that are built on a platform technology. I'm going to see if I can phrase this right when I haven't written it down ahead of time, but I think your platform technology is your innovation, but your pipeline becomes your valuation at some point, right? To some degree, because that's going to ultimately be your revenue stream.
So, in some way, so that's how the market has treated it.
Yep. For better or worse, right?
Better or worse.
No offense to the VCs out there.
No. They're doing a good job of making sure that, they're rewarding, movement towards drugs, which is ultimately what everybody wants. Yeah. Now, I will say this. I think AI is a little different.
Okay.
I think, we've had a lot of platform companies that were really strong at enabling new modalities over a certain number of targets. With AI, I think we have the potential here to be truly game-changing about, what we're actually doing. Yeah. So, I think we're going to see this in every industry in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
It's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, AI is not a cool platform to discover a drug. This is a new, like, you're going to have capabilities that were science fiction. Before they came to play, right? The idea that you can, go and say, hey, prepare an Excel sheet this way with these formats and like just throw in this data and fix it for me and have it be done in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That was Jetson stuff. You know what I mean? Remember the cartoon, the Jetsons?
Yeah.
That, or that you had a robot that you could talk to, and
Shirley, I believe.
I forgot her name, but and like people looked at Roombas, right? And they're like, so that's how far we've gotten, and then that's never going to happen. Now you're like, wait, there's something, there's something interesting here.
Yeah.
AI for drug discovery is going to put us in the same path.
Yeah.
So I think AI drug discovery companies are, more and more as this technology goes from the Roomba to the, this is a different game.
Yeah.
I think more and more we're going to see that valuation versus value question change.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially I think for companies that are developing kind of frontier technologies where you're going into these hard spaces. So, we really expect that as we continue to demonstrate that there are true step changes in capabilities.
Yep.
Market is going to start to reward both the current pipeline.
Yeah.
But also the transformative capabilities of what the platform can do across multiple assets.
Yeah. And admittedly, right, to maybe contradict my statement earlier, I mean, the market already does this in other sectors. There's some pretty prolific examples that, of companies that their valuation is based on their future potential, even when their valuation is and value on the public market is going up tremendously, and they're losing money every quarter, right? This is all over the place in the tech space.
So in the tech space, the deployment of this technologies, I think, has been more common. I think, in the biotech space, when, interest rates go high, things cool down a little bit, it's always been about, okay, show me the tangibles, right? Yeah. Show me the assets. And to be honest, that is exactly the right mentality. Like, I think VCs focus on what brings values to patients.
Yep.
Now, the question is, okay, how do you value, though, a company that has 3-4 assets, but truly has the capability to do every asset, right, in a better way than was possible before? And it's true capability, right? This is a platform that really moves across and brings, transformative capabilities. How do you value that?
Yeah.
And I think, right now, no one's demonstrated this platform exists. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
I think, however, the promise of this platform is here.
Yeah.
And I think within the next, hopefully couple years, us and I think a few other leaders will have, demonstrated that, hey, look, these platforms exist. And I really want to see how the market reacts to actually seeing the platform.
Yeah. And you almost end up in this kind of feedback loop cycle, right? Where your platform makes your pipeline, and then your pipeline will demonstrate the value of your platform.
Exactly.
Right. So which is an interesting piece. So
yeah.
So maybe pivoting a little bit and spending just a couple minutes. We're both here from North Carolina companies, right? So we're a little biased towards the RTP space, but we do see new hubs and areas kind of emerging across the country. Especially right now, we see a tremendous push, especially into manufacturing, right? But domestic manufacturing. But how has been being based in North Carolina, right? Obviously, close affiliation with Duke, of which anyone who knows me remotely well knows I'm an avid fan and have been pretty much my whole life. I just offended everyone that I went to college with. But how has been being in North Carolina kind of shaped where you guys are at from a growth and from a partnership perspective?
Yeah, obviously we're a Duke spin out. We it's fantastic to have the university close by. But the truth is, UNC and NC State are, huge feeders into this ecosystem as well. And we work with
tremendous amount of talent. It pains me to say that about UNC, but it's still true, right?
And we work with them, and they're fantastic. What I'd say is this: you have the research triangle where you have 3 really amazing universities. Although prices have gone up, compared to the rest of the country, you have manageable prices in North Carolina. So you have access to talent. You have, lower costs. Shipping and stuff is not a problem. You have a developing and a strong VC base, where we obviously, can count on the support of some amazing local VCs that, support us, as well as national VCs. And we see the local VCs here playing nationally with, at the highest levels. So I think you see North Carolina companies attracting VCs from, both the rest of the country and the world, which was, so you got the money, you got the talent, you got good costs. This is a great place to build a company. You got a state that is, kind of friendly to companies, and a state that's moderate. So you get a few benefits there.
Yeah. And a long-standing, strong interest in supporting this sector. I mean, we talk to so many other areas that are trying to recreate kind of the magic of the Biotechnology Center and NC Life Sci, right? Well, and the work that's going on over there.
Yeah, and they're absolutely amazing. So it's a very supportive. So I think from all the way from the government through to the current kind of organizations leading biotech. I think you mentioned the major ones, all the way to the venture through to the talent.
Yep.
And even the real estate. I think we got it. I think all right now, right? Yeah, you got Alexandra, you got Biolabs, you got a few others doing a great job there.
And we're even seeing like the emergence of some, GMP space ready to lease, which a few years ago would have been impossible to imagine, being here and let alone not even being in RTP proper, right? You can go to some of the suburbs that have become their own little biotech hubs.
Yeah,
so it's awesome to see.
It's I think a really exciting, place to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are its challenges as well that I think, we're it's not Boston yet. I think there, but there are benefits to that and problems, right?
Yeah.
One of the major benefits is, I think the cost of living that we were talking about. I think the challenge that we're still trying to overcome sometimes is we're still importing a lot of talent.
Yep.
So that's, something that I think the more it becomes easier to do, the better it is. And I think, we've been able to bring in some great people from out of town. And, I think the more we have great companies come here, be successful, that talent stays, can kind of spread to other great companies. And I think we're seeing that happen now. So I think we're in a great place, and it's a flourishing place. Durham 10 years ago and Durham now is a completely different city.
Night and day difference, yeah.
So, hopefully
And same with downtown Raleigh 25 years ago, right? I mean, and let alone some of the suburbs. I mean, Holly Springs didn't exist 25 years ago, right?
I really think that, we're going to see this place continue to flourish, and it's just great to be here and be part of the community.
Yeah. And it's super exciting to have 1063. So, and, obviously Kaimanox is we've been here for a really long time and we're super committed to the RTP area. So, excellent. Well, that wraps up our time, I think, Marcel. Really appreciate you joining us here on Life Science Solutions. I think really good insights there on kind of AI-driven drug discovery and especially in the oncology space. So, we're excited to see how things continue for you guys from here. Right. And hopefully we can, I don't know, maybe come back in a year or two and talk about what's next and where things are going.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Life Science Solutions, presented by Kaimanox and produced by Walk West. For more insights like this, subscribe and follow Life Science Solutions wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you next time as we continue exploring what it takes to bring life science innovation to life, because patients deserve better.